Hey Lazy Peeps, it's Truly Teen, and I wanted to share my final thoughts on how the Unwrapped Challenge for 2024 went overall. So if you're not familiar, our book club chose to challenge our members for the year of 2024 to wrap 12 books from their physical TBR that had been on there for a while. So we wrapped them in paper and then we put them on our shelf, and then each month we chose one of those books to read. I chose to have my Instagram followers pick which book I was reading. So each month I would have a vote and they would pick which one I would open to read. I already did a video from the books I read from January through July. So here's just a recap that you can see. So we read Gretchen and the Bear, Every Word You Never Said, Welcome to Deadland. I DNF'd Cain's Jawbone. I read A List of Cages and Six of Crows. So I really wanted to talk about July through December. A lot of these books were meh, which is a-okay. It helps clear up that TBR. So for July, I read More Than This by Patrick Ness, and this book had such a strong start for me as a fan of Death and Underworlds. But then it took a very unfortunate twist, and that's fine. The author chose to make that twist, but I was not a fan. So if you're more of a fan of apocalypse and sci-fi, it's probably for you. It was not for me. If he had kept going in the death direction and the underworld direction, I totally would have been in for it. Then for August, I read Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr, and I love dark, grungy fairies. And this was dark, grungy fairies, and I'm really mad that it took me so long to read it. I'm a huge fan of Holly Black's worlds, and I felt like if I had read this in high school at the same time I read Holly Black, it would have given me a larger breadth of books to have been reading and would have kept me reading through that transition from high school to college. I had a really big gap in that. But it was really great. I plan to finish the series now. So I'm hoping in 2025 that I will finish the Wicked Lovely series. Then in September, I read Sasuke's Story by June Eska. I am a huge Naruto fan. Just preface that, and my comfort characters are Sasuke and Sakura. So if you like them and their relationship and dinosaurs, this book's probably for you. If you're not a fan of them, though, I would not read this book, and it doesn't really impact the larger Naruto story from what happens after Shippuden. But if you like Sasuke and Sakura, it's kind of cute. So for October, my unwrapped book was Storm Dancer by Jay Kristoff. And this one did bleed into November. So I have a really hard time with super small font. And for some reason, adult fantasy, adult fiction, tends to always have really small font. So it took me 2 months to read this book. And it took me a long time to get into it. Like, it was a slow read, not just because of the font, but because the start had a lot of world building that you needed to digest. But I did enjoy it once the main character meets her creature. I still haven't rated it on Goodreads or on Fable, so it's a toss-up. I don't know what I would rate it. And then in November, I read Born for This by Alice Osman, and I'm normally in love with Alice Osman's books. The Heartstopper series is behind me, but this one just felt very different from everything else she's written, and it was a little too religious for me. So I'm not big into Christianity and religions, and this had a lot of that in there. I did appreciate the character growth, but it also felt a little too dramatic at parts. I have lent the book out to a friend who also loves Alice Osman, so we'll see what she thinks when she's done. But that was my November Unwrapped. And then for December, I read The Novice by Tran Matharu. And I really wanted to like this book. It was a book that was gifted to me. Somebody thought I would like it. The magic concept is really unique. I just couldn't stand that the main character, who was like 15-year-old boy, was just doing what he was told the entire time. Like, adults were telling him to do this, do this, do this. And he was just like, oh, okay, I'll go do that. And I was frustrated because I really just wanted him to like stand up for something and like fight against what they were asking him to do. So those were my July through December reads. None were super great, but that's okay because I cleared off some space on my physical TBR. Overall, I really loved this reading challenge, and so far it's my favorite one our book club has done yet. not only did it help me get those books off my shelf, but I felt really accomplished after completing the challenge because I read or DNF'd books that have been there for years. Um, so yeah, that's our Unwrapped review summary. I don't know, from me. Um, I will, I mean, if you choose to take up the Unwrapped challenge, I would love to know and see what you think as you go through the experience. And we'll see what our 2025 challenge brings.